Madness Bracket Builder Show. We're doing a little bit of NCAA preview. Obviously, March Madness, a time everyone out there has been looking forward to all year. So let's all go a little bit March Mad today, talk about all the stuff that we need to know. I'm Chris Spags, joined today by the top DFS player in the world, man who I haven't spent enough camera time with since the NFL season ended, Mr. Alex Baker, better known to all of you as Awesemo. How are you doing, Alex?
I'm doing great. Really looking forward to building this bracket with you guys. It should be a lot of fun, and I think it's always interesting to kind of go through all the choices, and it's all going to come down to between now and tomorrow, making that $1 million bracket.
Yeah, I'm sure one of us will be the one to hit that, or at least one of the viewers. We at least have better odds with all of you guys out there. And also joining us, one of the smartest men in the world of sports betting, who's really prepared for this situation today. You've been waiting all year for this, right, Ben? Mr. Ben Rasa. How are you doing, Ben?
I'm good, man. Yeah, it's one of my favorite times of the year, not going to lie. And Alex said it. We're at the home stretch now. We less than 24 hours. All the fiddling with the brackets coming to an end. So we're going to have to make some decisions coming up here, and it's pretty exciting.
It is an exciting time, and I'm here to catch the fever. I've been doing my research in the last week or so. I haven't paid enough attention because obviously the NBA and the NFL before that dominated a lot of my time. But I'm ready to learn from you guys, and that's what the goal is today here. Alex and Ben are going to bring a lot of information to the table, and a lot of that information is available to you right now at awesemo.com. We have a package going just for March Madness, so there's some bracket building tips, some DFS projections right from Awesemo's own accounts. All his own math is right in there for you guys. It's $30, so just get in there, learn how to beat all your family, beat all your coworkers in the pool, as well as actually contribute to some DFS tournaments. So check that out on the site now. And we have a promo code BRACKET as well if you want to get 50% off of any other package. Again, we're going March Mad here, so we got promo codes for everything. But check out the main package, $30 right now. Obviously, that'll be a little bit less value to you after tomorrow, so get in there ASAP. All right, Alex, let's talk about the DFS perspective of all this stuff, because DFS, college basketball, not available in some states, so a lot of people may not be able to play out there, may not have even tried it if you have had it in your state. So what are we looking at first and foremost for college basketball DFS?
Yeah, I think it's going to be really interesting because March Madness is totally different than your typical NBA slate because there aren't really value plays the same way there are in NBA. Not a lot of injuries on these teams that made it into the tournament. So it's going to be really tricky trying to build your roster because there's about one guy per team that's really stand out, or maybe five if it's a Duke. But for the most part, there's 300 guys. Most of them you're not likely to know. So that's why we have this package available on the site to help everyone build their lineups. And what it does is, for free, you can access my rankings, which tell you how good of a value each player is and how good of the projection there is. And then if you sign up for a premium package, you can get the actual projection with minutes, points, assists, etc. You can get our ownership projections for the slates, and you can also get access to our Slack where you can talk to me and Ben and all of our other great college basketball guys in our community, and we can work together to come up with some strategies for attacking these slates.
Yeah, so we do have the projections up right now. Would you say, and this is probably a tangent question, but one I think pops to mind for me, a lot of prop bets floating out there for the tournament, obviously. How do you feel like these projections may help out with people trying to place some prop bets, keep the action going?
Yeah, absolutely. The projections will definitely show you the actual point projection, rebound projection, assists for every single player of fantasy relevance. So you can use that kind of as a guide to betting the props for each player, and I know a lot of sites have that. And you can also do your own research and combine it with the projections to have an even more efficient system of trying to tackle these sports books.
All right, so check that out right now. And again, that package is up right now for just $30. So get in there. You should be able to make that back, hopefully, with the various games that we have out there. So, Alex, which guys are coming up for you the most so far in your DFS crunches that you've done? John Morant, a guy who's going to be probably at the top of the NBA draft, who's also the highest priced guy around for the tournament, is going to be very popular. But how are you attacking this one? Are you more inclined to load up with a high-priced guy who's going to have a steady role? Or are you trying to chase, let's say, Team Y, who's going to shoot 53 pointers a game just to try to have a shot to win? What's the approach for a person who's jumping in for the first time?
Yeah, I think you want to use the rankings in concert with also the Vegas projections, because if the spread is like -22, like for some of these games, it's that or more. You're not going to get a guy on a team favored by 22 to play 40 minutes in a game. It's going to be more of their normal rotation. So in that case, you really want a game stack. So if you want to pick a guy from a team, let's see, like Kentucky, a lot of NBA talent on there every year. If you want to pick a guy from Kentucky, you're going to have to figure out who on Abilene Christian is going to put up some resistance. And if you're like me, you didn't know anything about Abilene Christian or even the fact that it was a school that existed until last week. So that's where my rankings come in. You don't have to do all the research. We narrow it down for you to pick out some guys from each team.
So who's the guy to go to in Abilene Christian?
Man, you're putting me on the spot here. Honestly, I'd probably have to say nobody. But I'm probably not going to target this game. There's some others on the slate that I like a lot more.
That's a fair one. If you had popped up with somebody off the top of your head, that would have been one of the more impressive moments we've had in a live stream. So I guess the DFS stuff, so I guess we've talked about it sort of holistically. We talked about some more specifics about it. I guess if you had one tip you would give to somebody who's playing, you talked a little bit about the comparisons to NBA and how they're not the most apt. What would be the one tip you would give to somebody who's jumping in and going to give a shot, besides following the rankings, which obviously is going to be the Bible for people to dig into all these players who they've never heard of, and might as well just be NBA 2K graded players?
Yeah, actually, I think some of them are NBA 2K players. So what I'd recommend as far as general strategy is you want to target value forwards. The guards in NCAA play really long minutes if they're good, and their minutes are cut if they're backups. So what happens is a lot of the variances in the forward position. These guys foul a lot more. Fouls are more relevant in the tournament because there's only 5 instead of 6, and these guys are priced for their average minutes, where their actual minutes are going to fluctuate a lot. So if you pick up a backup forward for a team and their star gets 3 fouls in the first half or 2 fouls and they're taken out, then you have a potential to get some really nice value there.
People in the YouTube chat asking also, by the way, we are going to literally build a bracket on the show. We're going to debate it as we go. So stick with us. We just want to hit the DFS stuff up top because that's Alex's specialty, obviously, and one a lot of people don't know yet. But we are going to get to that, and we are going to literally build a bracket here. So hang in there, guys, anybody who's dying for that part. All right, Alex, so you gave us a tip, you gave us the rankings, all the other stuff. Anything else you want to give the people about DFS before we jump into the actual game content?
Yeah, I think a lot of the concepts from other DFS sports are very relevant. So if you want to pick up some pointers, if you're newer to DFS especially, you can go to our section on the page. It's called our game plan series, and it has all the fundamentals kind of laid out for you.
All right, so there you go. So that covers the DFS stuff. So YouTube, you can be happy now. We're going to go right into bracket stuff. All right, Ben, let's go to you. You have a column up right now on the site in which you detailed basically region by region going through your teams to beat and the various first round games that you're watching the most. So what's been your findings so far from the tournament, and I guess the research you've done? Where are you leaning the most in terms of, which brackets which regions you're favoring, which teams you're finding coming up the most in the bets you're making? Where are you seeing everything?
So it's interesting. Obviously, you get the draw on Sunday. You get a couple days to digest while we take in these playing games. And really, I think this is a year that's so unique because we have one team that's so polarizing in Duke. I think kind of before you attack any bracket, I'm not saying you need to know what you want to do with them specifically, but you kind of want to know, okay, am I going to build a bracket around them winning or them going out earlier than that? They're such a popular pick this year that really is going to dictate what else you're going to do. Then you have some other regions, we're going to go really dig in, but like the West, for example, I think it's pretty wide open. You have Gonzaga, you got Michigan, you got Texas Tech, but these are teams that, they're either struggling of late. There are some red flags. That's one where we could see a dark horse. We could see maybe a team from a higher digit seed make a run. So, it's trying to find that blend, obviously, depending on how big your pool is. If you're going for the $1 million on Yahoo, you probably want to be a little more aggressive than if you're playing with 15 people. But, that to me is really the Duke question, is what's looming over this entire tournament.
So that's been a question, Alex, which you've answered pretty vehemently on Twitter about picking Duke in tournaments. And you also wrote a column up talking about your March Madness strategy and how you would handle it with various sizes of bracket pools. So like one with your family and friends, one with your coworkers that's a little bit bigger, and the gigantic ones that are offering a ton of money everywhere. So what's your overall stance on Duke, Alex? Give the people who perhaps haven't seen it.
I think it really depends on the size of your bracket. If your bracket pool only has maybe 10 people, then going to Duke could be a really smart play. But the fantasy sports on Yahoo has ownership for each team at each round. I can actually pull it up here and get it on the screen. But it will tell you exactly who's picking what. And in the brackets made on their site so far, 48.6% have selected Duke to win the tournament. And the sportsbooks suggest that their actual odds of winning the tournament are somewhere in the 25% region. So it's kind of like DFS, where when you're building your bracket, you want to have a lot of the chalk picks and you want to have some differentiation in other areas. So if you pick Duke to win, you're going to have to pick some dark horse Final Four guys if you want to really have an edge over your competition. And in a larger tournament where maybe only a handful of people pick each other team to win, getting that team right will give you a huge edge in winning the pool.
So here's a question I have for both you guys, actually, and this is sort of a general one, because when I've played tournament brackets in the past, I had just started with Osmo last year, and we didn't do this kind of coverage or this depth of coverage that we're doing for the NCAA this year. I've always favored teams who have pretty decent NBA prospects, or like a player rather who is going to be a decent NBA prospect. I think that there's a little more impetus for them to play well, but that's not always the case. Does any of that stuff or any sort of myth making that you guys have in the sort of general populace, does any of that come to mind for you, Ben, like the 5-12 matchups? Are you chasing any of those kind of narrative situations?
So there's definitely something to that. Obviously, Ja Morant is a guy we're going to see a ton with. They're a 5-12. They get Marquette. And there are certain players, Miles Powell comes to mind, Marcus Howard on Marquette, who's on the other side of that game, where we've seen in the past Kemba Walker took a UConn team, they got hot at the right time, and boom, maybe a little more talented, someone like Murray State, Carmelo with Syracuse. So I think, if you're looking for a team that's pretty aggressive, it is nice to have a guy that can really take the team on his back. But for the most part, I still think what you want to do, you examine the game, you look at matchups, because these are awkward. These teams, they get their draw on Sunday and they're playing 3 days later. A lot of these teams have not seen each other. And then, if you win on Thursday, you play Saturday. It's a quick turnaround. So it's really, do they match up well? And do you have a guy? I do think it is important to have a go-to guy, whether it's a Zion of the world or a Ja Morant for a team like that if they do want to win a couple games.
What about you, Alex? Is there anybody who you're seeing who you feel like the success is largely driven by a player, or I guess do you buy into that narrative at all?
I'm a little bit more skeptical because I remember, and this is anecdotal evidence, but I remember Kevin Durant was, the next huge hype prospect, and he played for Texas for 1 year, and their team really didn't do that great in the tournament. So I think he's one of the greatest basketball players of all time probably, and he couldn't get it done by himself. So I kind of would apply that logic. I think that Ja Morant is a perfect example. He plays for Murray State. They're only favored by 4.5 to win their first round game. So their chance of advancing deep in the tournament really isn't that strong. So maybe you can gain an edge by picking Marquette to go to the Sweet 16 instead of Murray State. And that'd be a point where everyone's kind of buying the hype and you could be differentiated.
Yeah, I think that's sort of my sense about how I viewed the world previously would be. I would assume the guys who have top prospects are going to be a little more public across the board. Would you think that's the case, Ben, where you're probably seeing more action on the guys who are just players that people know?
Oh, definitely. I mean, Murray State's a team, a 12-5 matchup is always up top, in terms of a kind of a sexy upset. And in the spread, Alex just indicated, Murray State, it's the line's dropping. They're only a 3-point underdog right now, as I see it on my screen. So, they're getting a lot of love, and a lot of that's driven by, if they didn't have an NBA prospect, most people, even filling out brackets, would not be able to name one guy on Murray State. So it is a lightning rod. That is a public kind of thing. And then, you take a team like last night, Belmont. they have a guy in Windler who's getting some buzz, but he's not on the Morant level, and people don't really gravitate towards a team like that. So I think it's a sharp call by you in the sense that you can fall into a public trap of, it's this one guy's getting a lot of press, and that overvalues the team on the whole.
Yeah, actually, we can bring it up right here and find out. Actually, Marquette, 58% of people on Yahoo picked them to win the first round matchup. So actually going with Murray State, maybe the hype's not as big as we in the public size as we anticipate.
Interesting. All right. So anything else? Obviously, these guys also cover this at a lot more depth. The betting angles with Jordan Frank, our guy who does a lot of the sports betting content for us. Those guys did that on Monday. So check the YouTube channel if you want to see a video with more depth about all the sports betting angles. It's on the channel right now, obviously. You guys want to hit the bracket now? I feel like we got about half the show left. I feel like we might have a lot of debates as we go because I think we need to agree. There needs to be a consensus on each pick. Okay. So let's do it. Alex, you're in charge here. So pull up the bracket. Which region do you want to go to first, boss man?
All right, first I want to give a plug to our osmo.com group. I'm going to post the link in chat here, but we are going to have a tournament on Yahoo, and also the winner is going to get a prize to be determined later. And yeah, it'd be great to have all you guys in there. You can click the link, the password's Osmo, and let's see who can make the best bracket here.
Also, just so you're clear, the prize is going to be a good one. We just haven't fully fleshed out what it's going to be. We're just not giving away something crappy. That would be my assumption. Like a prize to be named later is like a player to be named later.
It's a good point. Yeah, it'll be good. It'll be some kind of thing like either free subscription for duration of time, or I was talking about maybe throwing a coaching session out there for the winner. So definitely it'll be pretty interesting. Hope to see you guys in there, and let's start building this bracket.
All right, so let's go. Which region are we going to hit first?
Do you guys just want to go from top to bottom here in the East?
Yeah,
Sure.
unless Ben has a preference on a hot take. You got a hot take, Ben, on a region to go with?
No, we're going to have to attack them all, so might as well start with the Dukies. Why not?
All right, so I have my hot take for the day. I'm going to go with Duke in the first.
Look at you, ball.
Man, Chris, I have to criticize you here, man. You can't pick Duke without knowing who they're going to play between North Carolina Central or North Dakota State University. We're going to have to wait to see until tonight before we make any calls here.
If Duke lost this game, it would be the Tyson Douglas, I feel like, of all situations. But you're right. That's unfair. We can't sell these North Dakotas and the North Carolina short, the various North states of ours. But yeah, I think we agree perhaps to move Duke in.
I think we're moving on that one. Those are the easy ones for sure.
All right. How about VCU and UCF? Which way are you guys leaning?
To me, it's obviously 8-9 games, virtual coin tosses. This is a game where, again, I brought up before, styles kind of make fights. What a weird contrasting style. Hard-nosed defense with VCU. UCF has a 7-6 player, Taco Fall. That's an awkward matchup for anyone. Gritty team, I lean UCF. Certainly a coin toss, but I have a feeling they move on to face Duke.
Alex, what do you think? And I feel like VCU must be a little more popular based upon their recent success, obviously with a different coach. But which way would you go?
Yeah, I think this one is easy from a game theory perspective because UCF is the lower seed and they're also the favorite in the game. So I think that combination, they're a big favorite, but I think since they're the 9 instead of the 8, maybe people will be a little bit biased to picking the 8. I guess we can pull this up here and check. I guess actually 58% picked them. So then maybe going with VCU makes sense because it's almost a 50-50.
All right, Spags, you're the tiebreaker.
Look, as a person who mostly just follows March Madness, I think I'm going to go VCU. They always seem to have a run, and if people aren't following that narrative, I will. I'll be the chalky public idiot and go VCU, even though it's not chalky. All right, so let's go. So VCU, we're in. Let's go. Next one of the famous 5-12s. 5-12 upsets, obviously, if you haven't followed super closely, been a thing where there's been one that's hit. I feel like the recent years it hasn't been quite as profitable, but Actually, Ben, do you have any sort of longitudinal information on the 5-12 matchups?
I mean, I don't have the exact, but it's a disproportionate number of years, at least 1 12 seed beats a 5. They had a long stretch. I kind of know what you're referring to. It was a long time in a row. In recent years, it's cooled off a bit, but, more often than not, you're going to see at least one of the 12s get through.
Yeah, I remember when I was growing up, that was one of the betting rules. It's like always just bet the 5-12 games because eventually one of them will hit because they hit 15 years in a row or something ridiculous.
Yeah. The spreads have adjusted, and that's what I think is interesting about this. A lot of, you see these games, we talked about Murray State, and we'll get to them. Spread's not that big. They're underdog, but not by much. This is one, not my favorite. Liberty's a decent team. Got through Lipscomb to get here, but I just think talent disparity for Mississippi State's a little too much.
Yeah, I love the pursuit of liberty and happiness and all that. But Alex, how about you? Where would you go with this 5-12?
I have to go to the Vegas line here, and Mississippi State's favored by 6.5. The money line is like minus 250, so about 70% of the time they're going to be advancing. So I don't see much advantage unless your pool is really big to go with the underdog here.
All right, so Mississippi State it is. Go Mississippi State, go. Let's hit the next one. Virginia Tech, a popular team I feel like has been touted a lot in all the coverage I've seen. Going against St. Louis here, a 4-13 matchup. Ben, which way are you leaning?
Gonna have to go with the Hokies here. Getting their point guard back, Justin Robinson, looks like he's good to go for Virginia Tech. That's gonna be a difference if he's healthy. St. Louis, weird team, methodical. Guess they could cause some problems, but not enough for me to really take a big stand here.
Alex, you agree?
Yeah, I think that SLU's a lot more likely to make the Frozen Four than the Final Four.
I think one narrative I have picked up, and this is also probably a function of the fact that a lot of the national games have been ACC ones. I feel like the ACC is the most tournament-ready conference, and they seem like the group who could have like 5 teams advance in the round. It wouldn't surprise me if just all these guys had decent runs because they've just been beating each other up all year. So I like Virginia Tech quite a bit, and I agree with you guys. How about Maryland and Belmont? We got a 6-11. Ben, what are you thinking here?
It is a tough game, so it's interesting. I really liked Temple last night against Belmont. I thought they played pretty well, and Belmont just flat out beat them. Talented team. I was impressed. And I kind of knew that, and this is the luxury of the playing game, whoever came out of that game, I kind of liked against Maryland. We've seen in recent years at least one team who's won the playing game has beat the 6th seed. So, there's only 2 of them. To me, Belmont's in a pretty good spot against Maryland here. Spread's pretty close to a pick 'em. I'm going to take the slight upset with Belmont.
All right, Alex, would you agree here? Taking the team named after the horse race track seems like a decent move.
That's right.
Yeah, I have to agree with Ben. I think that this game's pretty close, judging from the spread of 3. And I think there's a big advantage in ownership probably. So what I do is I go to the ownership here and see how many people pick Maryland. 77%. I think they're only about a 60% favorite to win the game. So you can get an edge in ownership by picking Belmont here.
All right, Belmont it is. Go ahead. I didn't think you had something. Number 3, number 14, LSU, Yale. Ben, you mentioned Yale's one of your teams to watch as a potential Cinderella. How are we feeling about it's a tough team here going against LSU, but you like Yale. Give me your thoughts.
I do. Obviously it is somewhat of a reach. It depends how aggressive you want to be. I don't know in a small field torrent bracket if you need to go Yale, but I'll tell you this much. LSU's coach is suspended. They're in turmoil right now. And Yale is a hard-nosed team. I know they come out of the Ivy, but Harvard was good, Penn was good, Princeton was decent. This is a team, they have a legit player in Oni. The length of LSU is going to be an issue. I don't know how to handle that, to be honest, but if they can keep this game close, like I said, I'm not sure where LSU's head's at, just the team, a lot of influx right now. I think it's closer than the 8.5 that it opened at. And if you, again, want to be aggressive, I could see Yale staying in this game right down to the end.
Alex, do you agree? Yale have a shot in this one?
I'm a little bit biased towards the Ivy League schools personally. I mean, they have that fatal flaw of that hubris, and they think their academic success can get them far in athletics. I can assure you that's not the case. Actually, I really love this game for DFS. The over-under is 160. It's by far the highest on tomorrow's slate. So I think that it makes a lot of sense to go to some of these players in DFS, but I'm leaning more chalk in tournament because LSU is favored by 7, so a pretty big favorite to win the game.
Yeah, I feel like we got Belmont in there already. I don't think we need to take the risk with Yale. So I would go LSU too, unless, Ben, you really feel strongly about your potential Ivy League Cinderella.
No, I mean, this is more a game. I think Yale is more of an interesting bet than the risk reward in a bracket may not be as prevalent. There's certainly a large window where Yale keeps it close, covers this spread, and LSU moves on.
So here's a question, I think, in general with the brackets. So like a spot like this where Yale, like let's say they did pull off the upset, they're still likely going to lose. Well, I guess maybe not going against Belmont potentially, but like a team who's going to, let's say, could win the first round, but very likely to lose in the second. Is there really an advantage in going contrarian there? Or would you rather go chalky for those? Ben, what do you think?
So again, you want to make sure you're clear on your rules. There's a lot of brackets that give bonus points for the seed upset. So if you're in a pool like that, I think it's very live to take someone like Yale. If you're in a very standard scoring, I think you bring up a really smart point. Is it really worth it? Unless you think that Yale makes a real run, maybe to the Sweet 16, I'm not sure how necessary it is to do that. So that's where size of pool and style comes into play.
Alex, do you agree with that take?
Yeah, definitely. I think that what you brought up an interesting point, which is that if Yale advances, then maybe it makes sense to have a bracket where Belmont makes the Sweet 16, because if Yale advances and you're right about that, then you have a better chance of your Sweet 16 pick being right. So you can kind of build a scenario there.
Yeah, it seems like there's some correlations to unlock if you are attacking it with multiple entries, but I think for now we are in agreement. Let's just go with LSU here. We'll play it a little safer. Let's go to the 7-10 matchup with Louisville and Minnesota. Ben, what are your thoughts on this one?
Not a strong take. To be honest, I think it's very, very coin toss matchup. Two teams. I'm going to just kind of roll with what you said, Spags. I agree. ACC, just a little stronger, overall on a macro level this year. In a game like this, I'll just roll with Louisville.
Alex, do you agree? We want to go with Louisville?
Yep, I think that we only want to make a few contrarian picks if we're doing a normal pool. If we're trying to win the million, maybe there's a little bit more advantage to going with Minnesota, but I think Louisville is the safe choice here.
Yep, I like that Ben complimented my narrative, so I support this as well. Let's go Louisville.
Perfect.
How about the 2-15 with Michigan State and Bradley, Ben?
Bradley, yeah, I don't think we're going to see any fireworks here. Michigan State rolls.
Yeah, Alex, do you agree?
Yeah, no way they're gonna go out again as in the first round upset. They're due to win their first round this time.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, a strong team, I feel like, who had an embarrassment recently seems like a good spot narratively to go back to as well. So I'm cool with Michigan State. We want to hit the West. Yeah, let's just do left side. Let's go to the West now. We got Gonzaga going against a 16 seed, Fairleigh Dickinson. How are we doing with this one, Ben?
I will say props to Fairleigh Dickinson. Watched that game last night. They really battled back against Prairie View. Impressive for a team like that. Now they have a different animal in Gonzaga. Not going to be able to keep contact. Hope they could keep it within 20-ish, but no chance for an upset.
Alex, you agree?
Yeah, I mean, the spread here is minus 27.5. The sportsbooks don't even let you bet a money line in this game, but I do like this game for DFS a little bit. I think that the total of 150 is pretty good, and you might be able to find some value on Fairleigh Dickinson. One guy that's jumping out of my projections is Elijah Williams. I'm projected to play 36 minutes at $5,400, and I think I'm a little more confident in their rotations for this game because they already played one.
But overall, though, we're going Gonzaga. It seems like it's going to be more unfairly Dickinson for them, right, guys?
Sad.
Yeah, unfortunately, you don't get points for the spread in your bracket.
That sucks. Let's go with the 8-9 matchup. Syracuse and Baylor. Ben, thoughts on this game?
This is one, again, I'm going to keep referencing this throughout the show, styles. Baylor, a long athletic team, but Syracuse plays that zone 2-3, really forces teams to kind of play an uncomfortable offense, and Baylor can't shoot. That's not good against the zone. I'm not sure how they'll try to attack it. I have no faith in Scott Drew, their coach. Jim Boeheim on the other side seems to get Syracuse. He drags lifeless teams all the time. They make a mini run. We saw them take out Michigan State last year. I'm going to roll with the orange here. I think it sets up an interesting matchup with Gonzaga.
Alex, are you in agreement there?
As much as I like Baylor's philosophy about rebounding as espoused by Torian Prince, I will also be in Syracuse here.
No objections for me on that one. Let's go with another 5-12, Marquette and Murray State. Ben, what are your thoughts on this one?
Tough game. I don't have a strong lean, to be honest. Obviously, we've talked a little about Ja Morant. I will say, though, Marcus Howard on the other side is also an incredible player. And I do think there's something to, playing a team like Murray State. They get more press than the 5. I could see Marquette coming out a little angry about that and actually pulling a pretty impressive showing against them. I'll take Marquette.
Alex, do you agree?
I think it depends on how sharp your bracket is. Since we're doing the Awesemo.com one, I'm assuming they're going to be pretty sharp and they're going to know about Murray State. If this is your common person, they might not be looking too far into it. So I think Marquette makes sense for game theory because there's so much hype around Murray State.
I would go Murray State, and I probably will go Murray State in our company brackets, but I think that does seem fair. I just like the Ja Morant play. I think he's a really strong player, and it contributes in a lot of categories. Can't shoot, but a guy who I've been impressed by the highlights I've seen of him so far. So I'm into Murray State, but I support you guys going Marquette.
Yeah, I hope Murray State wins because that'll make Saturday's DFS slate a lot more interesting.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, the highest priced guy could hopefully live to fight another day, but guess we'll find out. What about the Florida State-Vermont game? Florida State getting a lot of tout hype out there in industry-wide from various NCAA analysts. How are you thinking about this, Ben?
Florida State, to me, of all the teams, 68 of them, they're the team that I'm most worried about both ways. I think they have the talent to march through this entire bracket, and I think Vermont could beat them. And that's as big of a range of outcomes as you're going to get. Very erratic team. We've seen them take down Virginia. We've seen them look good. Should have beat Duke. And then we see games where they look lifeless. I think here talent wins out and they move on, but I do worry about them sustaining. You got to win 6 games. It's not a series. There's win and go home. So I don't know how long they can last, but I do think they get out of the first round.
Yeah, I think my stance would be in favor of Florida State too, but Alex, what would you think?
Yeah, I don't want to get too cute here. We just picked upset, so we want to only pick a few in each round maybe. So I think going with the favorite here makes a lot of sense.
All right, Florida State it is. How about the next one we have here with Buffalo and the winner of the Arizona State-St. John's game today? How can you pick this one, Ben, without knowing?
Yeah, this is tough. Obviously, I want to see this game tonight. I like Arizona State in the game tonight personally. Given a 1.5 last time I checked. Depending on who comes out, I still lean Buffalo over either of them. This is an experienced team. They beat Arizona with DeAndre Ayton last year. That was very impressive, and they returned basically intact. So I'll ride with the Bulls for a little while and see what they can do against most likely Texas Tech, which we'll get to in a second.
What are you thinking about this one, Alex?
Yeah, I think that whoever wins the playing game, Buffalo is probably going to be a favorite by a significant amount. So I think it makes sense to pencil that in until we get more information tonight.
All right, so we'll go with Buffalo then. Though I find St. John's a little interesting, but they got to get there. The Pac-12 to me is the opposite of the ACC in terms of what I've seen. I've not been impressed by anybody
That's
in the
correct.
Pac-12. But,
Awful.
Yeah. As a USC fan, that one hurts, but an alum. Our basketball, not our best strength. Number 3, Texas Tech going against number 14, Northern Kentucky. What are we doing this one, Ben?
I am a closet Northern Kentucky fan. I really like this team. I think this is possibly the worst matchup they could have had. Texas Tech just grinds you, maybe the best defense in the country. And Northern Kentucky is a free, three spirit, likes to get up and down. Horrible spot for them. Have to go Texas Tech.
Would you agree, Alex?
Yeah, I'm seeing a 13.5 point spread. No reason to get cute here.
All right, yeah, Texas Tech it is. Let's speed these up because I think it's my fault we're not going fast enough. Nevada and Florida, 7-10 matchup. Ben, which way are you going?
I'm going to lean with the Gators. Minor upset here. Looked good in the SEC tournament, and they played a really tough schedule. So as good as Nevada is in terms of experience, I think Florida can find a way to pull a little upset here.
Would you agree, Alex?
Yeah, I think this is one of the ones that could go either way. So I wouldn't sweat too much about this choice.
All right, so we'll go Florida. Though Nevada, I feel like has done some stuff in the past, which I would, if I were just a person throwing in a bet, I feel like I might pick them, but Florida seems more logical. Michigan and Montana, 2-15, Ben.
Michigan, not going to be close.
Yeah, that seems fair. Alex, you agree, I assume?
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so we got a chalky bracket so far. We got a one pick. So I guess, are we trying to set a rule in general for something like this where you'd only want to have like one, maybe two underdog picks in a bracket or in a region, or is it just sort of a fungible thing for you, Ben?
So what I like to do, and I think on something like this, which is actually super helpful to people watching, is you err on the side of caution, and then you tune your bracket based on the parameters. So, if you're close between two teams, kind of pick the favorite. And then once you're done, go back and say, all right, I need to change this up. It's kind of like pivoting, when you make a DFS lineup, you add some upside to it maybe at the end if you think I'm in a top-heavy GPP. So that's kind of how I approach it. And, we're going to probably be somewhat vanilla, and then you can kind of up your risk tolerance at your own leisure.
Okay, that approach makes sense to me. Alex, I assume you agree with that sentiment?
Yeah, definitely. I think that you don't really know until you build the whole bracket where you need to take the risks, because it depends how chalky you go in the Final Four.
All right, how about so I'll be honest, I don't even know what gwebb is.
Gardner Webb, the running Bulldogs. They're going to have some issues.
So then, give us your thoughts.
There's not too many. I'll tell you this much. If Virginia loses again to the 16th seed, they should just be dismantled as a university. I have a feeling they at least get out of the gate strong this time and roll over Gardner Webb.
gwebb could literally be like, not to mention NBA 2K again, but it could be one of the the esports players' names. Like, oh, gwebb had a great day. Alex, you agree, I presume, that we're not going with the team gwebb?
Yeah, it's not waste time here.
Virginia it is. Ole Miss or Oklahoma, Ben?
Coin toss in mine. These 8-9 games, I'll lean with Ole Miss. More I looked, the more I kind of fell into them, but I don't have a strong preference here. I think either of them against Virginia is going to be a problem.
Alex, would you go Ole Miss too, or do you go Oklahoma?
Yeah, I think in these 8-9 matchups, you just flip a coin and be done with it. I'm cool with Ole Miss.
All right, let's go Ole Miss then. Let's go to the next one. We got Wisconsin and Oregon, another 5-12. Ben, what are we thinking?
A lot of people very interested in Oregon. They took down Washington for that title in Pac-12. I'm gonna lean with Wisconsin. I think just on the whole, I still side with them. Slight favorite in the game, so gonna be a competitive one. But I think they find a way to hold serve as a 5 seed.
All right, what are you doing, Alex?
I think this one comes down to just if you want to be contrarian, this is a great spot to do it. If we see a better spot in this region and for an upset, then we can go with that.
All right, so let's go with the chalk then. We'll go Wisconsin moving forward. Let's go to the next one. We got Kansas State and UC Irvine. Ben, how about this one?
So this is one I think Alex kind of just touched upon my thoughts. I think it's a good spot to take a shot with. If you like Oregon, go ahead. UC Irvine, another team. They're playing in San Jose, kind of a home game. Kansas State a little banged up. I wouldn't fault anyone for going UC Irvine here. Just going to depend on the structure of your bracket. But this one is ripe for an upset, in my opinion.
Okay, what do you think, Alex?
Yeah, I have to agree with Ben. Only 18% of people have UC Irvine pulling it out. And in Vegas, let's see, they're a 4.5 point underdog, so they're about a little bit better than 1-3 to win. So you're getting basically twice as much leverage if you pick the underdog here over the field.
All right, so let's go UC Irvine then. I didn't expect that take going in here, but
don't sleep on the anteaters. That's what they do.
How about the 6-11 for Villanova and St. Mary's? I presume after we just went fairly contrarian, we're going to want to go Villanova here. But Ben, what do you think?
Yeah, defending champs. Obviously not a real threat this year, but still good enough to get out of this first round.
You agree, Alex?
Yep.
All right, Villanova sweeps. Let's go to St. Mary's going against. St. Mary's going against. No, wait, I just fucked that up. Sorry. Purdue going against Old Dominion. Ben.
This is one, again, weird styles. Old Dominion really wants to slow that tempo. I think they're successful in doing that, but not enough talent. I still have to lean with Purdue here.
Alex, any contrarian thoughts on this?
Yeah, only if you want to throw a real dart throw. I mean, there's only about a 10% chance that Old Dominion wins this game.
All right, I'm cool with that. Let's go to Cincinnati and Iowa, 7-10 matchup. Ben, which way would you lean?
I'm leaning with the Bearcats. Cincinnati, very physical team. They have the bodies inside. I think that cause Iowa problems. Iowa can really shoot, and that is scary. But all in all, I'll lean with kind of, that physicality, rebounding edge with Cincinnati.
Do you agree, Alex?
Yep, they're 60% to win this game. So I think we already picked our upset for the region, so might as well go chalk.
All right, so we picked our upset, so we don't want to go with Colgate over Tennessee?
We're Colgate. Yeah, I have a feeling that could be real bad. Not gonna be an upset in that one.
Who is their one famous player from Colgate?
Colgate? You got me. I don't know anyone from Colgate.
It's not Mike Allwood Candy, is it? He's not from Colgate.
I think
it was some other.
He's from Pacific, I believe.
Okay. There was some other big who was drafted highly, but mostly a bust. This is going to bother me. But let's move forward because we're already going slow. Also, the Cavity Creeps, known alum.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard of the toothpaste, but I wouldn't pick the college.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to the next. So we closed out one more bracket. Let's go down to the match. Okay, here we go. North Carolina, another popular pick going against Iona. Ben, you want to go with Iona here?
This is a bit. I will say, from a DFS standpoint, keep an eye on this game. Both teams want to get up and down, and that's going to create a lot of points. However, for Iona, they're not going to score. They'll probably score 30 less than North Carolina, and that's going to be a problem.
Donald Foyle is the Colgate alum.
I never would have thought of that person again if you didn't bring him up just now.
I just remember him being a big, block-heavy, mostly stiff. So I just wanted to close that out for my own brain. But yes, North Carolina for me too. Alex, North Carolina.
Yeah, I mean, it's not get too cute here.
All right, Utah State, Washington, perhaps a little bit cuter. Ben, what do you think?
Tough game as usual with an 8-9. Washington plays really tight zone, athletic, long. Everyone seems to be on Utah State. I don't know if I'm in the minority here. I'm actually leaning with the Huskies in Washington.
Yeah, Washington barely escaped USC, who is terrible. And I think they might be due for a bounce back, but they have looked kind of bad. But Alex, any contrarian thoughts here on this one?
No, I mean, 8-9. Doesn't really matter. They're going to lose in the second round anyway, so let's pick one.
I'll go Washington. I want to offer up Washington here. I want to have one Pac-12 team have some showing, so I'll suggest Washington.
All right, perfect.
Let's go another 5-12, Auburn and New Mexico State. Ben, what do you think?
This is one definitely ripe for an upset, similar to the pod we talked about a little while ago with UC Irvine and Oregon in that little micro 4 range. I think you could lean to New Mexico State. They come in, they've won a long stretch. They dominated the WAC conference. Auburn's playing well as well. We're going to get to Kansas and Northeastern next. So I wouldn't fault anyone for going New Mexico State here. Kind of lean there, but, not married to it either.
All right, Alex, would you also lean for the 12?
I think it's kind of a reach, but if we want to be contrarian, it's as good a spot as any.
Well, I guess so. Let's go through these 3 games at once. Then, do either of the 4-13 or 6-11 spots seem any better to you, Ben?
So yeah, for me, I mean Northeastern's another team where I have no problem taking the plunge there. Again, better candidate to bet and have them cover and not win the game. Winning is a tough ask for a lot of these teams, but that is a strong defensive team. They have the talent. So I think you want to look at your bracket on a whole, and these are decent spots to target. Obviously, you did allude to the 6-11 matchup. Ohio State could beat Iowa State as well. I lean Cyclones in that one, but one of those 3, I certainly will have a double-digit seed, at least moving on past that first game.
So which seed, Alex, would you like the most of the lower seeds to move on out of this trio?
Based on the Vegas odds, New Mexico State and Northeastern are about equal. So I might just lean for the 13 instead of the 12 to get a little bit of an ownership edge.
Yeah, it seems like going against a historical power like Kansas would be a little more contrarian even. So I support that. I think that's fair, though. Though, Ben, your objections are noted because you did go pretty heavily for New Mexico State, I feel like, in that group.
Yeah, I mean, I'm certainly on that Northeastern train, but New Mexico State is one of the wild cards in this whole bracket. I don't think anyone knows how good they are because they haven't played anyone in about 2 months. Just been rolling over really bad teams.
All right, so we'll find out very soon how good they are. So then we're going to go Auburn, Northeastern, and Iowa State out of that group. So let's go to the 3-14, Houston and Georgia State. Ben, which would you go?
I like Georgia State in life, but not against Houston. Houston is a really good team. Don't really see any way that they're going to be able to keep up.
You agree, Alex?
Yeah, I think Houston and Iowa State are both kind of good dark horse picks to make a run here. So I like having both of them in the advance.
All right, so go with Houston, Wofford, and Seton Hall. Any leans here, Ben?
This is my favorite game of the first round. I think this is going to be an absolute battle. Wofford's won 20-something in a row. Seton Hall has a guy, Spags, that you kind of alluded to in Miles Powell. He can just carry a team. He's unbelievable. So I lean with Seton Hall. I kind of lean with him being the best player on the court. And when you have a virtual toss-up, I'll go with that. But this is one where both teams are very dangerous.
Alex, which way are you going?
Yeah, I can go along with that. Yeah, as Ben said, it's a little bit of toss-up, so wouldn't sweat it too much. It's not going to make or break a bracket.
All right, let's do that. All right, and Kentucky and Abilene Christian, your favorite, Alex. We'll let you choose first. Who would you go with?
I'll go with the school I've heard of before.
Ben, you agree? Do you have any Abilene Christian sleepers you want to mention?
No, I've seen them play more than you would think, I'll tell you that much, out of the Southland Conference, but just don't have the length to give Kentucky any problems.
I mean,
when you've seen Abilene Christian play a bunch, I feel like the degenerate side is tilting.
Yeah, I really have. They look good. Sam Houston State and them were battling it out late in the year, but they found a way. First tournament appearance for the school, which is always really cool.
All right, so there we go. So we got the first round done. Let's go faster through the second round. Go back to the top. Duke and VCU. Ben, where would you go with this?
I got to go Duke.
Yeah, this seems like an easy one. Alex, you agree, Duke?
Yeah, no point in taking a shot there.
All right, Duke it is. Mississippi State and Virginia Tech, a little more interesting. Ben, which way would you lean?
Tough game. I'm going to, just kind of for narrative street, I'm going to say the Hokies get through and set up a rematch with Duke. ACC, just lean over SEC.
Yeah, I support that. Do you agree, Alex?
It looks like Mississippi State is they're the sixth best team in the region. So based on the odds I'm looking at, they should have a pretty big advantage over Virginia Tech.
Interesting.
The odds for Virginia. Oh, sorry, I got this. Sorry, I got it mixed up. I was looking at the wrong school. All right, yeah. So Virginia Tech.
I was wondering.
Yeah.
You're like, they're the sixth best team of the region, and they're the 5 seeds. That seems like...
Sorry, I was looking at Virginia Commonwealth. I got confused.
VC.
Okay,
Yeah,
there.
a lot of shady schools out there.
Yeah.
And a lot of Virginia. Good Virginia representation this round. But yeah, let's go Virginia Tech advancing, going against Duke. Go all ACC for that next round. Belmont and LSU. This could be an interesting little Cinderella spot. Ben, what do you think?
If this game happens, and I really don't know if it will, I would take Belmont. I think that they can certainly beat LSU, as can Yale. And that's where you talked about earlier. You can kind of have an opportunity because you almost get 2 shots to take out LSU. If Yale does it, great. That helps Belmont. If Belmont does it, great, because that's what you picked.
Yeah, I support that. Alex, would you go with Belmont over LSU, or do you want to go with a chalkier LSU play?
Yeah, I like that risk reward there since LSU isn't the biggest favorite against Yale, so it makes sense to build a bracket that way.
All right, so Belmont advancing, and we got a 1-4 up top, so I feel like we can take a risk with an 11 here. What about Louisville and Michigan State, Ben?
Michigan State's just too tough. They may put up a little fight, but I still think the Spartans advance.
Yeah, that works for me. Alex, would you agree?
Yeah, I mean, I think we picked our contrarian picks, so we can go chalk here.
All right, cool. Let's go to another bracket where maybe we'll get a little more contrarian, but probably not because I don't think we have any crazy ones here. Gonzaga and Syracuse, Ben, where would you go?
I do think that the Syracuse zone can cause them some problems, but ultimately not enough risk reward for me to actually take the plunge. I go Gonzaga.
Okay, I support that. Would you also go with the 1 seed, Alex?
Yeah, I mean, the 1 seed's probably going to be a huge favorite, so I think that unless you're in a really big pool, then maybe you want to pick a team like Syracuse making a run, but otherwise going chalk makes a lot of sense.
All right, let's go Gonzaga. Marquette, Florida State. Ben, which way would you lean?
Tough game. I'm going to lean again with Florida State, just the length, the athleticism. Kind of, like I said, they're an erratic team, but they do seem like the better of the two.
Yeah. What do you think, Alex? Would you want to go Marquette or do you want to go with Florida State?
I like going with Marquette if it's going to be a close game because a lot of people, you know, they're going to pick Murray State in the first round. So maybe you get a lot of leverage over the field in this spot.
I don't
want to go against my ACC narrative, but as a tiebreaker, I will go with the boss man on this one. I think that logic is pretty sound.
Yeah. I like that.
All right, Marquette advancing. What about Buffalo and Texas Tech, Ben?
Too much defense. Texas Tech is just, they really have an ability to limit, shut down, paralyze your offense. I'm not sure Buffalo can find just enough points out there. I'm going to go with Texas Tech.
You agree, Alex?
Yeah, Ben, you just talked me into it.
There we go. Red Raiders. Put it on the board.
All right, and now we have our 10 seed, our lone really underdog team in this round. Florida going against Michigan. Any upset here for you, Ben?
I'm not really high on Michigan in the bracket as a whole, but to tell you the truth, I'm not sure that Florida is the team either. I wish there was just a different scenario. I have to lean Michigan, but don't have much confidence in either of them.
What about you, Alex? What would you lean here?
Yeah, I got the bias being from Ann Arbor. I'll have to at least pick Michigan to make the Sweet 16.
Yeah, I support that. I think I might, if we had gone Nevada over Florida, I might have gone Nevada over Michigan, but I think you guys are right. Let's just go Michigan. Let's go to the other side, top right corner in the South region. We're going Virginia and Mississippi. Ben, which way would you lean?
I'm going to lean with Virginia. Just too much defense. Not sure that Ole Miss can handle something like that.
Yeah, Alex, what would you say?
Yeah, same.
It seems like Virginia's already sustained their embarrassment, so getting them to the Sweet 16 seems reasonable. Virginia advancing. Wisconsin and UC Irvine. Ben, what are about your UC Irvine boys here versus Wisconsin?
Yeah, the Anteaters. I don't know if they can win 2 games. I'm going to stick more with the chalk here and think Wisco finds a way to set up an interesting matchup against Virginia.
You agree, Alex? Wisconsin going on?
Yeah, I think I like picking the upside ones, but the odds are pretty overwhelming that UC Irvine is probably not going to make the Sweet 16.
Yep, I think that's fair. Wisconsin, moving on. Villanova and Purdue. Ben, who would you go with between those two?
Part of this is because I did allude, I think Old Dominion does have a decent shot in that first game. I'm going to ride with the champs here. I think Villanova can clip them. No threat to take it all the way like they did last year, but I have a feeling that they sneakily make the second weekend make that Sweet 16 run.
Yeah, that tournament experience is hard to ignore completely. Would you agree, Alex? Go with Villanova advancing?
Well, I imagine Purdue is going to be a pretty decent favorite, but I like the contrarianness there, so go with Villanova.
All right, and it's a logical contrarianism. They are a champion. They were here, even though the team's a little different. But yeah, that works for me. Villanova advancing. Cincinnati and Tennessee. Ben, which way would you go?
I hope we get this game really badly. This will be a real battle. A toss-up in my mind, which just shows how much I really do like Cincinnati. I'm going to still give the edge to Tennessee. Admiral Schofield, great, maybe my favorite name in college basketball is on their team. 2 physical teams, but I'll give the edge to the Vols, even though Cincinnati's certainly live.
Alex, you want to go with the Vols too?
I think that makes sense. If I want to get some action in that game, maybe I'll play some DFS.
Yeah, probably our chalkiest region right now, but I support that. Let's go Tennessee. Also, one quick note in the channel right now, we are giving away a premium March Madness package to people. So all you have to do, like this video and leave a comment in the static version of the video, not in the chat right now. The regular version that's up as soon as we're done with this. We are going to be done with this eventually, I promise. But we are giving away a premium package there. It includes a membership and some other freebies. So like the video right now and leave a comment in the static version of this video when we are done. All right, let's go down to the Midwest region. North Carolina and Washington. Ben, you're going to go with a chalky North Carolina team?
I am. Just too much offense. I don't think Washington can keep up.
Yeah, I agree. Alex, will you support North Carolina too? Yep, I think that works. So North Carolina clean sweep. Auburn and Northeastern. Where would you go, Ben?
I'd lean, if we get this game, tough one for me, but I'll lean Auburn. Just a little more experience. Obviously, SEC is tougher than the CAA. But closer than people think.
Do you agree, Alex? You want to go with Auburn here?
Yeah, I don't want to overreach here. I think it makes sense picking Auburn because if Northeastern actually wins game 1, then Auburn will be even a bigger favorite to make the Sweet 16.
All right, so let's go Auburn. We have our Cinderella. Our Cinderella is Belmont. We're throwing our hats firmly behind the Belmont boys. Iowa State and Houston. Ben, who would you go with?
I like both these teams. Think both are live to win multiple games in this tournament. I'm going to lean with the 3 seed Houston. Just, again, too balanced. Think they caused some problems for Iowa State.
Would you agree, Alex, with going with Houston?
This is my leverage point in the tournament, I think, where, let me pull up the odds here. So Houston is plus 550 to make the Final Four, and Iowa State is plus 900. But if we go to the picks here, I looked at this the other day. 5.7% pick Houston, and then Iowa State only 1.2% pick them. But Iowa State's only about half as likely as Houston, but they have 1/4 of the ownership. So I think that's one spot where I like kind of making a contrarian play.
Okay.
All right, and with that much thought process given, you won't find that on many bracket selection shows. So yeah, I support that. Let's go Iowa State. There's never a time I'm going to question you, Alex, about an ownership-related issue. Let's go to the last game in this round, Seton Hall and Kentucky. Ben, would you go with the upset here, or you want to go with Kentucky?
No, I'm going to lean with Kentucky. Again, too much length. I think that's just something you can't replicate. They move on.
Alex, do you agree?
Yep.
I would have advocated for Seton Hall if we had gone with Houston, but I think since we got Iowa State in there as an upset, I think we can just go with the chalk and go Kentucky. So let's go Kentucky. All right, we're in our Sweet 16 now. Back up top, Duke and Virginia Tech, a battle of the ACC. Ben, who would you go with?
Virginia Tech just beat them, but that was Zion-less. Got to go with Duke.
Yeah, Zion rolling right now. Alex, do you agree? Go with Duke?
Yeah, I think we want to pick our spots and maybe not pick Duke to win the finals, but it makes no sense to pick them going out that early.
Yeah, we can wait for the Duke loss to Belmont.
You know what's going on. I like it.
Belmont and Michigan State. Ben, do you want to keep Belmont's train rolling, or do you want to go to Michigan State?
I would love to see that, but I just don't see how they're going to be able to handle, again, the size on the inside. If Ward is healthy, Cassius Winston's phenomenal. I think Michigan State finds a way to set up a matchup that a lot of people think, Duke and Michigan State.
You agree, Alex?
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense because this Michigan State versus Duke, that's probably the most realistic chance that Duke can lose early in the tournament. So I think that's an interesting point to have.
All right, let's go with it then. We'll go with a chalky 1-2 matchup. And I'm sorry, Belmont. We tried our best to will you in, but not happening this year. Gonzaga and Marquette up next. Where would you go, Ben?
That'd be an interesting game if we get it. I'm going to lean the Zags, Hachimura on the inside. To me, Syracuse is almost more daunting to Gonzaga just in terms of styles. Marquette fits into what Gonzaga would naturally like to do, so I'm going to go with Gonzaga.
Alex, what do you think? Marquette's been your guys who I feel like have been a good leverage point. Do you want to keep going with them, or you want to go Gonzaga?
Yeah, actually, I see a leverage point in this region in the Sweet or in the Elite Eight game. So I think going Gonzaga here makes sense.
All right, Gonzaga it is. Texas Tech or Michigan, Ben? Which way would you go?
I'm going to lean with Texas Tech again. Again, defense. I just think that they cause so many problems. If they can get Culver going and he can provide the offense, not a lot of teams can handle that aggressive defense. So, tough game, but I'm going to go with Texas Tech.
Alex, can your Wolverines fight off Texas Tech, or do you want to go with Ben's pick?
I like Texas Tech because I feel like the Wolverines making such a run last year to the finals. I think people are going to be over on them compared to their actual chances, where the sports books are showing Michigan is plus 300 to make the Final Four. Texas Tech is plus 500, so that shows these two teams are very close. So I think going contrarian here makes sense.
All right, so Texas Tech, much like the movie Logan, signifying the end of Wolverine in this tournament. Yeah. I'm practicing for when I get a Fox Sports 1 show, guys. I'm just going to throw lots of shitty turns of phrase and puns. Virginia and Wisconsin on the South region. Ben, which way would you go?
Well, if we get this game, don't play it in DFS. The over-under will be maybe 115, 120. I'm going to lean Virginia. It could be a slow, grinded out game. And Wisco could beat them, but I'll still stay with the Cavaliers here.
Do you agree, Alex?
Yeah, I think we're going pretty contrary in the other regions, so going chalk here. It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, this seems like Virginia's redemption song this tournament, so I support going with Virginia for at least one more round. Villanova and Tennessee. Ben, which way would you go?
I think this is it for the champs. Tennessee just too tough, too experienced. I go with the Vols.
Would you agree, Alex? You want to go against the defending champs?
Yeah, as much as I hate going 1-2, I think we gotta go chalk in a couple of places.
Yeah, I'll go with it. I could make a case for Villanova just based upon the rankings, but yeah, I think let's just go chalky for this. Go down to the Midwest region, North Carolina and Auburn. Ben, who would you go with?
North Carolina. As much as I'd like to take one of these 1 seeds out, I don't think Auburn is the team to do it. Certainly in the next round, I think we're going to have a couple getting bounced, but for me, UNC moves on.
You agree, Alex?
Yep.
Yeah, North Carolina, I think a class above a lot of these other teams. Iowa State and Kentucky. Would you go anywhere weird with this one, Ben?
I'm going to actually pass it right to Alex. This is his team, so I want to get these thoughts. Are you taking your Cyclones to make a move, get past Kentucky, and set up a matchup with UNC?
Yeah, here's the tricky part of this is I want to pick either Texas Tech or Iowa State to make the Final Four.
Okay.
I don't want to pick both because I don't think this pool is going to be big enough to really warrant going so contrarian. So Ben, which do you think would be more likely to make a run?
So I certainly think that Texas Tech is more likely, but I think your payoff in terms if you got it right with Iowa State would be massive. And relative to them being a 6 seed, I think that is really the spot if you want to take a shot.
Right.
I'm supporting your Cyclones. I'm with you on Iowa State.
Let's do it.
All right, this is a bold one, but I like it. Let's go Iowa State. It's not the Kentucky of previous years either. I feel like they don't have the super duper elite prospects like they have in some of the other tournaments where they've really gone deep. So let's go Iowa State. I guess anything we want to revise. We did talk about revising picks as we go, or does everything look good to you guys?
I mean, for me, again, it's you get to this point and you can make some small tweaks here and there, but it's, are you happy with kind of where's your leverage? Alex has alluded to that a couple times. You don't need to make 5-10 crazy stands. You just need to make 1 or 2 and just have a path to victory. So if you're happy with that, this is a high variance thing. It's 1 game. I think that's really the way to do it.
All right, I support that. Yeah, I like this way this shook out. I feel like we got sort of contrarian without getting too crazy contrarian, which I think is probably the temptation for a lot of people making brackets. So that's a smart take by you guys, by you two gentlemen. Let's go to our Elite 8 matchups. We got Duke and Michigan. Who would you go for this one, Alex?
Here's where I'm thinking with this bracket is like, if I'm going so contrarian with Iowa State, only 1% of people have them making the Final Four, then it could make a lot of sense to pick Duke to win the whole tournament because that condition combined with the unlikely one that Iowa State wins up to the Final Four gives me a real path to victory. So that'd be my kind of my overall game plan is having a situation that's like pretty likely and not going over the rails with being too contrarian.
So Duke and his Ben, would you agree here that Duke, it's a tough 1-2 matchup here, but would you ride with Duke?
I think so, and I think that's smart because what happens in these pools is at the end you end up either being boxed out or you're boxing someone out. And if you get Iowa State to the Final Four, the last thing you want to do is get that right, and then you have to sweat out Duke. If you all have Duke, you're going to be ahead of everyone, and then it doesn't matter. You want the same pick, so why make 2 stands? Doesn't matter if you win by 1 point or 50 points. So I'm with you. I think we could roll with the Dukies here.
Yeah, that makes sense. The logic here, like I feel like we've gotten a lot of logic out there, which I have not heard people say before. So I support that. Let's go with Duke. And I think, too, you're getting the benefit where you're getting a favorite probably in every game they play moving forward. So That helps. Gonzaga and Texas Tech, which way would you go, Ben?
I'm going to lean with the Zags here. Close game. You could make a case for Texas Tech, and I would not call you crazy at all. But as we kind of said, with Iowa State in there, I'm gonna keep it vanilla on the other side.
Do you agree, Alex?
Yeah, definitely. I think our victory condition here is really banking on Iowa State. So we want to go chalky. Gonzaga has about 4 times the chance of making the Final Four as Texas Tech. So it makes a lot of sense to pick them.
Cool. I have no agreement with that logic, or no disagreement rather with that logic. How about Virginia and Tennessee on the other side, another 1-2 spot? Ben, what would you do?
I really like both these teams. Virginia to me is one of the quality underrated, but Tennessee is too. So we have 2-1 seeds on the other side. I don't really mind taking a stab with the 2 seed in Tennessee here. Another toss-up game, kind of just risk tolerance. Alex, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I think if my bracket is based around Duke winning and trying to win it in the earlier rounds, I think picking Tennessee makes a lot of sense, because then if either Tennessee or Iowa State makes it, we'll have a great shot to win.
Definitely.
All right, so let's do that. And North Carolina and Iowa State, I'm going to assume based upon everything we said, we now have to go Iowa State.
Got to do it. Yeah, that would be bold if we're just like, we're going to go with the Tar Heels. Like, wait, what?
You know all that logic we just gave you guys? It's totally opposite. Iowa State it is. They're in. All right. So we got a Duke-Gonzaga matchup in the Final Four. Two teams who've been there for quite a few matchups here, including championship games. Which way do you go, Ben, between Duke and Gonzaga?
This would be awesome. So Gonzaga is the only team this year that beat Duke at full strength. They beat them in Maui. That was a long time ago, and Duke's freshmen are not freshmen anymore. A lot more experience under their belt. I think if this game does happen, they get revenge and Duke moves on.
Alex, do you agree? You want to go Duke again?
Yeah, that's kind of the scenario I'm playing for here, is going chalk on one side of the bracket and then going contrarian on the other.
All right, so in our more contrarian Tennessee and Iowa State bracket, does Iowa State's dramatic run that we stumbled upon, does it end here, Ben, or does it keep going?
I would love to see it keep going, but unfortunately, Tennessee just so big inside, so much experience. I think they're too much for an Iowa State team, and sets up a Tennessee and Duke finals, which would be a very interesting one.
Yeah, a little clash of the Titans here. You agree, Alex? You want to go Tennessee too?
Yeah, I think from a strategy standpoint, it makes a lot of sense. Because Tennessee is more likely to make the finals than Iowa State, and if they do, I'm probably going to win my pool. So I really like having them.
All right, Iowa State, you were a great horse, but unfortunately your time is done. On with Tennessee. Duke and Tennessee, which way would you go this one? A pretty big gentleman in this game. Ben, where would you go?
So again, if you're in a massive pool, I would strongly consider Tennessee, because the way this shakes out, not a lot of people are going to have it with that. But I think the more prudent play would be to take Duke, make Iowa State that leverage, and it sets up an interesting dynamic where you really, as you said, Spags, you're going to have the best team. They're going to be favored the entire way as your champ, and then you have some outs with some of the dark horses on the other side.
Yeah, I think that all makes sense. Ben, obviously not Ben. Alex, what do you think?
I think we just built $1 million bracket. I'll give you guys a cut, of course.
Yeah, we're gonna
I have the bracket in our pool right now, Alex, so I'm just stealing it. What would we do? So is there any strategy for picking a final score that you guys would advocate? Alex, any sort of Vegas things you would look at, or is it just mostly guesswork?
Yeah, the strategy is just you'd have to figure out the over-under of the game. That would probably be you'd have to look at how many points each team scores and the pace of play. I don't have any of that information in front of me, so I'd have to defer to Ben, who has more of the intuitive feel here.
What do you think, Ben?
In terms of picking Final Four games, it's tough to project because, you're not sure what kind of game. I just really look at the team's paths in general. There's going to be some speed bumps. But if you say, man, I feel pretty confident that these are going to be 2 of the 4 games that they need to get through, you can kind of take a stab. And then it's about that balance that I think all 3 of us have talked about. If you have one crazy team, there's little incentive to take 2 other insane runs. Could there be carnage? Of course, we've seen it before. But more likely than not, the better teams in some of these regions are going to come out. So do the easy part, and then take your shot, see where you can do with a team like Iowa State, one of those mid-range seeds, and see what happens.
All right, so for the tiebreaker, I'm just putting in 75 to 69. That
nice.
Seems like it's a very nice score, and it just seems like a 6-point win for Duke. All right, anything else you guys want to touch on, Alex? Any sort of last-minute tips, or Ben, really, either of you? Any last-minute tips you guys want to offer to the people?
Yeah, just I was kind of basing this bracket on the idea that there are going to be a few hundred people in this tournament, so please join and make that true. If I was in a smaller pool, I'd probably go more chalk and not pick a a dark horse like Iowa State, because to get the benefit of this 1% play, you need at least 100 people in the tournament, or else their ownership's going to be higher. So, so you want to really base how chalky you're going on how big your pool is.
All right, so that works for me. So thank you guys for watching. Hit the like button on the way out, and please do leave a comment on the static version of the video telling us your favorite March Madness memory. That'll get you a chance to win our premium March Madness package. We'll have some free memberships and some other goodies in there. So do that right now, like the video, and leave a comment on the static version, which will be done as soon as our live stream ends. Ben, any parting words for you?
No, I think have fun with it. It's always an awesome time of the year. Obviously, tomorrow we're going to have a show, I believe, leading up to the madness. Obviously, if you have any questions, get in our Slack chat. Plenty of people talking March Madness all day, betting, a lot of fun stuff coming up. So it's going to be fun. I'm very excited to see how this bracket shakes out.
All right, Alex, any parting words or plugs for you that you want to get in?
Yeah, just good luck to everybody in this tournament and in all their other pools. Be sure to check out our rankings for DFS. They're totally free for the tournament. And then if you want to get really into it, gain an edge, you want to subscribe to our $30 package. That'll give you both my full point projections and our ownership projections for each day. And that'll give you your edge that you need over the competition.
And use that promo code BRACKET to get half off your first month on any package at awesemo.com too. We do have that March Madness package that Alex mentioned, just $30. So you get all the information, play some DFS, make some bets, whatever you want to do. So check both those out right now. And these guys, maybe me, we'll see. Somebody will be here tomorrow talking more stuff before the games tip off. So thank you guys for watching, and we will see you again soon.